everyone. I'm Linda McHenry of Taking the Mystery Out of Insurance. Thanks for joining me. This YouTube video about cannabis in the insurance industry coordinates with my podcast episode that aired earlier this week on April 28th. You can find more information on my website at lindamchenry.com. First thing I want to talk about is the difference between the federal and the state laws, because that is the root of all the problems we have with cannabis in the insurance industry. The federal government considers marijuana illegal. It's listed under Schedule 1 of the Controlled Substances Act, meaning that it has a high potential for misuse, and the federal government doesn't see any valuable or legitimate medical purpose for it. Obviously, some of the states disagree. There are 34, 35 states that have legalized medical marijuana programs, and of those states, 11 have legalized recreational use here in Massachusetts, where I'm from. So this distinction is what's created a lot of problems. Lloyd's won't write coverage for cannabis businesses here in the US because the federal government still considers them illegal. It's writing it in Canada, which legalized marijuana in 2018. So that is the root of the problem. And what the biggest problem that stems from that issue is banking, okay? Because federally regulated banks can't treat cannabis business as legal without running afoul of anti-money laundering statutes, the RICO legislation, and a bunch of other federal laws. So they're not opening bank accounts for cannabis businesses. So anyone who wants to run a dispensary or grow or do edibles, okay, can't find a bank. Now, having said that, there are some local and county banks that will open accounts. I know I was teaching in the Midwest last summer, teaching insurance to some crop insurance agents, and some of those agents were telling me there are county and local banks that'll do it, but there's not that many of them. And so this is the big issue with insurance under the crime section, because these businesses are targets of thieves who are looking for the money. They know that the businesses have all this cash on hand. You know, a lot of consumers out there think, oh, wow, people are going to break in and steal the plants or steal the cuttings and the seeds. And yeah, maybe some people are going to do that, but people who know anything are going to be looking for the cash, because these businesses have cash and they have nowhere to deposit it. So when you're looking at your insurance policies, you're going to see all kinds of requirements that the business be registered or licensed or certified by the state, that there are all kinds of security measures that are in place. The lists are just incredible. I could go on and on. I'm not going to. This is a short video. But again, if you listen to the podcast or you check the blog, or I'll keep updating that stuff. There's more and more information about that. Another thing I just want to mention briefly is the distinction between the legality of cannabis or marijuana and hemp. Okay, they're both actually cannabis, the different strains of the same plant, the cannabis sativa plant. But the federal government in 2018 legalized hemp if it met certain requirements. So the government took hemp out of Schedule 1, put it into Schedule 3, so long as the plants don't contain more than 0.03% THC. That's the psychoactive component of cannabis that gives you the high. So the federal government is allowing people to grow hemp as a covered commodity under federal crop insurance if that threshold isn't exceeded. And one of the problems that was resolved earlier this year is the fact that once a grower grows hemp, before they can harvest the plant, it has to be tested for THC. And if the THC level exceeds that threshold, the crop has to be destroyed, and it isn't a covered loss under crop insurance, at least not under federal crop insurance. So if you have carriers who are writing private crop insurance, they're probably still not going to, they still can't consider it a legal crop because of the law. They may look at whether it's a covered claim differently. I kind of don't think they will, but they might, who knows? So those are some of the biggest issues you're seeing in the cannabis industry now. If you want other resources, feel free to, again, check out my website at lindamchenry.com. I have information in blog posts. You can listen to the podcast, and I'll be continuing to update information on this. Oh, the other thing you want to look out for is the Safe Banking Act. Right now, that's pending in I think the Senate. We have the Claim Act is another law, and then there's HR 3884. Those are three pieces of federal legislation that I know of at the moment that are in limbo, and we're hoping to get them passed so that banks won't be considered violating the law. Same thing with insurance companies and anybody else doing business with cannabis businesses. So that's it for today. See you again soon. Bye-bye.